What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome back to Rebirth EDU. I'm your host, Kendrick, aka Oso the Great, here to drop some more knowledge on you, right? So, we're to the next book right now. We're going to start my favorite, absolute favorite book, mostly because it got me started on this journey, and that's Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Big time mentor of mine. I love this guy. I've never met him a day in my life, but he has influenced me so much you wouldn't believe, right? And Rich Dad Poor Dad is essentially his story. It's somewhat of an autobiography of how, when he grew up, his father was an educator who had just a regular teaching job. I think he actually worked for the government, but he had a teaching job. He was considered the poor dad, and his best friend Mike's dad, who he called his rich dad. He never gives that guy's name, which is I always thought was interesting. I felt like I should have looked this guy up just to see who he was. But that was his rich dad, and him and Mike grew up. Robert kind of grew up. I don't want to say poor. I would say middle class, lower upper, right in the middle class. I think he went to a school where there were kids there that had a little bit more money, and essentially they would call him poor sometimes. But before we tap in a little bit more, make sure you hit like, subscribe, the whole thing for the algorithm. If you rock with me, that's great. If you don't rock with me, that's great too. Because this isn't. I kind of realize this isn't for everybody. However, if you're listening in, the information that I'm giving you is free. If you definitely want to make a change from the situation that you're currently in, keep rocking with me, man. I'm gonna give you some of this knowledge that's in these books that really helped change my life and turn things around for me. And if it could happen for me, I promise you it could happen for you. A lot of these books that we're gonna go through, these people are just regular people. They're not, they didn't have they're not trust fund babies. They're not any of this other stuff that you may think where they were just born, wealthy. That's not necessarily how it works. But I digress, right? So, the way this book is structured is great. Each chapter is a lesson, and we're going to run through all of them, right? So, chapter 1, lesson 1, take notes. If you got questions, hit me up. We could chop it up a little bit more. Because it's as much as I would like to go into depth, we're just gonna kind of run out of time. Because I promise you, this book here I can ramble on for days and days, and y'all know I ramble, right? So, lesson 1, okay? The rich do not work for money. Wow, right? And I probably went through this chapter, man, at least 3 or 4 times before I started to understand it. And then maybe a year or two of me reading the book over and over again for it to click in. And I learned that is absolutely true. The rich do not work for money. So, Kendrick, what do they work for? If they're not working for money, what are they working for, right? They work for knowledge, because they really understand the real currency. They work to bring value. They work to build assets. That's what they do. And especially that knowledge part. Man, oh man, do they work at it. Whew, and they are good at it. I shared a stat with you guys a while back that the average millionaire reads over 50 books a year, while the average non-millionaire reads only a half a book a year. If you've been rocking with me for the last week or so, you already got 1 book in. So, hey, look at that. Rock with me for this one. You got 2 books. You're doing 4 times better than the average person out here. Just rock with me, right? So, the rich don't work for money. They work to build their knowledge because they understand that the money is going to come with the knowledge and their ability to bring value. They don't work for a paycheck. Mostly because with a paycheck, that money really don't go to them. You know, if you're living paycheck to paycheck right now, you got your house, you got your car, you know, you got bills, you got this. From January through May, the only person you're really working for is the tax man. You're giving all your money to the tax man for, you know, a hot third of the year. Then you got to pay the mortgage man, and then you got to pay that car person. And yeah, you're paying them throughout the months, but what do you have left when it's all said and done? All you got left is December, right? You get to keep the money from December, but then you decide to buy gifts and take a vacation and this, that, and the other. So half of that money gone too. And then next year starts the same year this one was, and the year before, and the year before, and the year before, and you're caught in this trap. And this is why they don't work for money, because they stay out of the rat race. They work on building assets that give them passive income that's going to give them money to pay for their monthly expenses. Okay? That's what they do. That's what I do. That's what I work on. And man, I promise you, my passive income is not through the roof right now. But I do have an asset that I'm working on to build and make it bigger, so that way I can get my passive income over my expenses, because I understand the rat race. And so it's only a matter of time if I keep buying assets, right? It's only a matter of time until I'm out of the rat race, right? So that's the first lesson. I want you to really think about that. How much time you spend of your life working for a check. And it's not to say anything's wrong with you going to work and making money. I still have a job. Don't quit your job. But it's important for you to understand money, put in the work to be educated about it, understand how it works, so that way you can get your money to work for you. Okay? We've been talking about that for a while now. Putting your money somewhere where your money is going to work for you. That's your employee. Okay? So you want to make sure your money is doing work. Feel me? That's lesson 1. Think about it. Write a comment below. Tell me what you think. All right?